I should have known something was wrong when they gave me the laminated rule card on my first day at Westridge Mall. "Read these carefully," my manager, Mr. Garrett, said, sliding the card across his desk. His fingers were trembling slightly, though I didn't think much of it at the time. Night shift security has specific protocols. The card was worn at the edges, like it had been handled by many people before me. I scanned the rules quickly. Westridge Mall night security protocols. Lock all entrance doors at exactly 10 p.m. Not before. Not after. If you hear children laughing after closing, do not investigate. The escalator on the second floor will sometimes run by itself. This is normal. Do not turn it off if the lights in the food court flicker 3 times. Leave immediately and return in exactly 15 minutes. Never enter the storage room in the east wing after midnight. If you see a woman in a red dress, pretend you don't see her. She will leave on her own. The security cameras in Zone 7, clothing stores north side, sometimes show people who aren't there. Ignore this out if all the mannequins in the store are facing the same direction. Facing out toward the mall corridor, radio for backup and do not approach. These rules are a joke, right? I asked, laughing nervously. Mr. Garrett didn't smile. They're not. Follow them exactly, Marcus. The last guard who didn't. He paused, his jaw tightening. Just follow them. That was 3 weeks ago. For the most part, the job had been uneventful. Boring, even. I'd walk my rounds, check the doors, and by morning I'd be heading home with nothing more exciting to report than a flickering bathroom light. Until tonight. I was doing my 11:30 p.m. patrol when I heard it, the unmistakable sound of children laughing. It echoed to the empty corridor near the toy store, high-pitched and gleeful, completely out of place in the dead silence of the mall. Rule number 2, do not investigate. I stopped walking, my hand instinctively moving to the radio on my belt. The laughter continued, joined now by the sound of small feet running. My heart hammered against my ribs. Every instinct screamed at me to look, to check if some kids had gotten locked in somehow. But I remembered Mr. Garrett's face, the way his voice had dropped when he mentioned the last guard. I turned around and walked in the opposite direction, forcing my legs to move at a normal pace, even though I wanted to run. The laughter followed me for a moment, then cut off abruptly, leaving only the hum of the ventilation system. My hands were shaking when I reached the central atrium. I took a deep breath. Try and calm down. It's fine. You follow the rules. Everything is fine. That's when the lights in the food court flickered. Once, twice, 3 times. Rule number 4. Leave immediately and return in exactly 15 minutes. I didn't hesitate this time. I practically ran to the south exit, pushed through the doors, and stood in the parking lot under the orange glow of the streetlights. The November air was cold, biting through my uniform shirt. I checked my watch. 11:47 p.m. 15 minutes. I would go back in at 12:02 a.m. The parking lot was completely empty except for my car, sitting alone in the employee section. The mall loomed above me, its dark windows like vacant eyes. I'd never noticed how unsettling it looked from the outside, all that glass and concrete. Built in the 70s and renovated a dozen times, but never quite losing that dated, liminal quality. My watch read 11:53 p.m. 8 more minutes. That's when I saw her, a woman in a red dress, standing by the main entrance. She was perfectly still, facing the glass doors. Even from 50 feet away, I could see the dress was old-fashioned, something from the 1950s maybe, with a full skirt and a cinch waist. Rule number 6. If you see a woman in a red dress, pretend you don't see her. I looked down at my watch, forcing my eyes away from her. 11:55 p.m. My pulse was racing. Don't look at her. Don't acknowledge her. She'll leave on her own. The seconds crawled by. I counted them in my head, trying to focus on anything but the woman in red. When I finally looked up again at 12:01 a.m., she was gone. I let out a breath I didn't know I'd been holding. One more minute, then I could go back inside. At exactly 12:02 a.m., I walked back to the south entrance. The food court lights were steady now, no flickering. I radioed in that I was resuming patrol and continued my rounds, trying to ignore the way my hand still trembled slightly. Everything was fine until I reached the north side of the second floor. Zone 7, the clothing stores. The first thing I noticed was how quiet it was. The ambient noise of the mall, the distant hum of electricity, the whisper of the ventilation system, seemed muted here, as if I'd stepped into a pocket of dead air. The second thing I noticed was a store directly ahead of me. Fashion forward, a mid-range women's clothing store. All of the mannequins were facing outward, every single one. 6 mannequins, positioned throughout the store, all turned toward the entrance. Toward me, their blank, featureless faces seemed to stare despite having no eyes. Rule number 8. Radio for backup, and do not approach. My hand was already reaching for my radio when I heard the voice. Marcus. It came from inside the store. A woman's voice, soft and familiar, though I couldn't place it. It sounded like my mother? No, that wasn't quite right. It sounded like the memory of my mother's voice, as if heard through water or from the other end of a long tunnel. Marcus, sweetheart, I need you. Every hair on my body stood on end. My mother had been dead for 6 years. Come here, baby. I'm scared. My finger was on the radio button, but I couldn't press it. The voice pulled at something deep inside me, some primal need to respond when a parent calls. I took a step toward the store. The mannequins didn't move, but I swear they were closer to the entrance than before. Marcus, please. It's dark in here. Another step, then another. The mannequins were definitely closer now. Their positions shifted, though I never saw them move. 5 feet from the entrance. 4 feet. Press the button. Call for backup. Follow the rules. But that voice, that impossible, heartbreaking voice. Marcus. I pressed the radio button. Zone 7, mannequin situation, requesting backup. I said, my voice cracking. I stepped back from the store entrance. The voice inside cut off mid-syllable. The silence that followed was absolute, suffocating. The mannequins stood motionless, but now they felt malevolent, angry at being denied. Mr. Garrett's voice crackled through the radio. Copy that. Stay exactly where you are. Do not enter the store. I'm coming up. It felt like hours before I heard footsteps on the escalator. Mr. Garrett appeared, and with him were 2 other people I'd never seen before, an older woman with gray hair and a younger man, both wearing dark clothes that weren't quite uniforms. Good, Mr. Garrett said when he saw me standing in the corridor. You followed the rules. The older woman walked to the store entrance. She pulled something from her pocket. Salt, I realized, as she poured a line across the threshold. She began speaking in a language I didn't recognize, while the younger man produced what looked like sage and began burning it. What the hell is going on? I whispered to Mr. Garrett. He kept his eyes on the store. Westridge Mall was built on top of an old hospital. Before that, it was a residential area that burned down in 1952. 63 people died, including a lot of children. He paused. The mall owner knew. He knew and built here anyway because the land was cheap. The rules exist because some places remember what happened to them. Inside the store, the mannequins suddenly collapsed, falling to the floor like puppets with cut strings. The woman finished her ritual and turned to us. It's bound again. For now, I repeated, my voice rising. What do you mean for now? The rules keep it contained. Mr. Garrett said quietly. As long as people follow them exactly, the manifestations stay manageable. When someone breaks them, he looked at me directly. The last guard thought he knew better, thought the rules were superstitious nonsense. He went into that store. What happened to him? We found him 3 days later, still in the store, sitting in the window display. He was positioned like a mannequin, and his eyes... Mr. Garrett shook his head. He's in a psychiatric facility now. Won't speak. Won't move. Just stares. I felt sick. Why didn't you tell me any of this? Would you have believed me? Would you have taken the job? He had a point. The rules work, Marcus. Follow them, and you'll be fine. Break them. He gestured toward the store. I quit that night. I couldn't do it. Couldn't walk those corridors knowing what I knew. Couldn't hear children laughing in the dark and pretend it was normal. Mr. Garrett understood. He even paid me for the full week. But here's the thing that still keeps me up at night. 3 days after I quit, I was at a different mall across town, just shopping. I was riding the escalator to the second floor when I heard it. Children laughing, that same high-pitched, gleeful sound. I looked around frantically, but everyone else seemed normal, unbothered. Nobody else heard it. Then I saw her at the top of the escalator, a woman in a red dress, standing perfectly still, watching me ascend toward her. I tried to get off, to go back down, but the escalator seemed to move faster. She grew closer, her face becoming clearer. Except it wasn't clear. It was blurred like an old photograph. Features indistinct, but somehow expressing an emotion I could only describe as hunger. At the last second, I closed my eyes, pretended I didn't see her. When I opened them, she was gone. I left that mall and never went back. But sometimes I wonder, did I bring something with me when I left Westridge? Or do all malls have their secrets, their rules, their hungry dead? I'll never work retail again. Some rules, once you know them, follow you everywhere. And sometimes, late at night, I still hear children laughing.